Hello and welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today, we are shifting gears just a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah, usually, we're tearing apart some complex tech news or maybe digging into some obscure bit of history. But today, we're looking at something that feels very personal.
It does.
We're analyzing a 3-part audio series. It's titled Starting Over.
And it's a fascinating choice for a deep dive, I have to say.
It is, isn't it? This series, it comes from a program called English Day by Day.
Right.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Wait, is this just an English lesson?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is, well, yes.
Yes.
But also, absolutely no.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so much more than that. We're looking at a set of scripts that are, on the surface, designed to teach vocabulary and grammar.
Sure, phrasal verbs, idioms, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But underneath that surface, they are tackling some of the heaviest, most, I think, universal feelings that we all deal with.
It's kind of a Trojan horse, then.
That's the perfect way to put it. A Trojan horse. You think you're just opening the gates for, some new vocabulary words.
And then what comes out is existential dread.
Exactly. Existential dread, career stagnation, the entire psychology of resilience. It's all packed in there.
The source material is really, really clever in that way. It's all centered on these two characters. First, you have Mary.
Mary, right. She's the guide.
She's the guide. She's patient. She's very structured. She is, for all intents and purposes, the voice of reason in the scripts.
And then you have John.
John.
Oh, John. I feel like we all know a John. Or maybe, if we're being really honest with ourselves, we are John sometimes.
We are definitely John. He's the relatable learner. He's the one who feels behind in life. He feels stuck, stagnant.
He basically represents that little voice in all of us that looks around at the world and thinks, wait a minute, I'm not where I'm supposed to be.
Absolutely. And because this deep dive is based on material that was made for English learners, we're going to adopt a specific tone today. We're going to take our time.
Right. That's a really important point. We want to be very clear. If you're listening to this and English isn't your first language, or frankly, if you just want a break from the constant fast-paced noise of the world,
then this one's for you.
This one is for you. We're going to pace this moderately. We're going to explain the vocabulary as we go, kind of mirroring that pedagogical style, the teaching style of the source material itself.
So our mission today is, you could say, twofold. First, we're definitely going to explore the English vocabulary, especially the words related to daily routines and mental health that are in these scripts.
Okay.
And second, we are going to really analyze the psychological advice that's given to John, because honestly, it's advice I think I needed to hear just as much as he did.
I couldn't agree more. I really felt that. So let's set the scene. We're jumping into episode 1 of the source material. The title for this first section is The I'm Late Trap.
The I'm Late Trap. I mean, that sounds ominous right from the start.
It does. And it begins with a morning routine that I think is painfully familiar to a lot of us. The script describes John waking up. The sun is coming through the window. It should be a nice morning. But what is the very first thing he does?
Let me guess. He reaches for his phone.
He reaches over to his nightstand, grabs his phone, and opens Instagram.
Of course he does. It's the modern morning ritual, isn't it? Before you've even had a sip of water or brushed your teeth, you are scrolling through a curated version of other people's lives.
And the source material, it gives this a name, John, the character. He calls it the success monster.
The success monster. Wow, that's such a vivid image.
Isn't it?
It implies that success isn't just something you're aspiring to, it's something that's actively hunting you. Or maybe it's something that's scaring you, lurking under the bed.
I think it's both. And in the script, John describes exactly what he sees that sets it off. He's just scrolling. He passes a friend from high school. And what has this friend done? They've just bought a huge house, one of those ones with the big lawn and a 2-car garage, a mansion, practically.
And you can just picture John, right? He's probably sitting there in his rented apartment. Maybe his room's a bit messy. The contrast is just brutal.
It's brutal. And then he scrolls again. Another friend. This one just got a massive promotion. They're now vice president of something that sounds very important.
And John just looks at his own life, at his own job, and he feels small. The script says he feels like he's shrinking.
Yes. And this whole process, this comparison, it's just deadly. Yeah. And John uses this analogy that, for me, was one of the absolute best lines in the entire series.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
He tells Mary that he feels like he is running in flip-flops while everyone else has rockets on their feet. There it is. Let's unpack that for a second.
All right.
Running in flip-flops. Have you ever actually tried to run in flip-flops?
It's a total disaster. It's loud, first of all, that slap, slap, slap sound. Right. You've got no traction. You're probably tripping over yourself. It feels chaotic and incredibly slow.
And it hurts. Your feet are sliding around. You get blisters. It is the absolute definition of inefficiency.
Exactly. And now you compare that to rockets on their feet.
Completely different universe.
Rockets imply incredible speed. They imply power, technology. They imply that these other people, they aren't even touching the ground. They are literally soaring. It's effortless power.
So John is down on the ground, slapping along, feeling clumsy and slow, and everyone else is just blasting off into the stratosphere.
It's a perfect metaphor for that feeling of being left behind.
And this feeling, this enormous gap between where he is and where he thinks he should be, that leads us to the first major vocabulary phrase of the series, catch up.
Catch up, such a common phrasal verb. We hear it all the time, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I need to catch up on my emails.
Or let's catch up over coffee sometime. It can be very casual.
Very casual, but in this context, it's so much heavier.
Much, much heavier. The definition they give in the source material is to try to reach the same level as others.
See, that implies a deficit right away. It implies you are losing a race that you didn't even know you were in.
Right.
Now, here is where the English day-by-day teaching method gets really, really interesting. They don't just throw the word at you and give you a definition, they make you interact with it.
Yeah, I noticed this in the script. Mary, the guide, she actually stops the conversation cold. She tells John to spell it out.
She does. She says, spell it with me. C-A-T-C-H. And then she pauses. And then U-P.
And the notes in the source material, they highlight something very specific right here. There is a 15-second pause after they say the word.
That pause is everything. It's not dead air.
Okay, explain that. Why is it everything? 15 seconds feels like an eternity in normal conversation.
It's completely intentional. Think about John's state of mind. He's anxious, he's panicked, his brain is racing.
He's trying to catch up.
Exactly. He wants to rush to the next thing immediately. By forcing a 15-second silence, the source material is forcing the learner and John himself to just stop. You have to sit with the word. You have to breathe. It literally breaks the panic cycle.
So what you're saying is the pedagogy, the actual teaching method, is a form of therapy.
In a way, yes. It's applied psychology. It is teaching you, through the mechanics of the lesson, to slow down. You can't catch up if you're in a full-blown panic. You have to stop first.
I love that. The medium is the message.
Precisely.
Okay, so John is freaking out about the rockets on everyone's feet.
Yeah.
He feels this desperate need to catch up. But Mary, this calm, wise guide, she doesn't just agree with him. She pushes back.
She does.
She introduces a counter-argument to the success monster. She calls it the highlight reel.
The highlight reel. Again, another term that's become really common, but let's look at where it comes from. It's borrowed from sports or movies.
Like the end-of-year sports wrap-up.
Exactly. And in sports, what is a highlight reel? It is only the goals, the spectacular slam dunks, the game-winning touchdowns.
You don't see the player sitting on the bench for half the game. You don't see the 50 missed shots in practice.
Yeah.
You definitely don't see the injuries or the physical therapy.
You see none of the struggle. And Mary applies this concept directly to social media. She tells John, what you're seeing on Instagram is the trailer for the movie. It is not the full documentary.
It's the edited version, the curated version.
It's the best 1%.
But what's great is that John argues with her in the script. He pushes back. He said, but Mary, the house is real. My friend really did buy that house. That's not a fake highlight.
And he's right, in a way. The house does exist.
He's not wrong. And this is where Mary drops some really serious wisdom. She says, yes, John, the house is real, but do you see the mortgage?
Ooh, that's good. It's so good. She goes on, do you see the stress that comes with that mortgage? Do you see the 80-hour work weeks he has to pull to pay for that house? Do you see the arguments he's having with his spouse? Because he is never, ever home.
She's basically saying that the object of your envy is visible, but the cost of that object is completely invisible.
Exactly. You see the prize, but you don't see the price.
Wow. And this leads us directly to the core idiom for this first section. It's a classic English idiom, one you've probably heard before. The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
The grass isn't always greener. I feel like my grandmother had this on a plaque in her kitchen.
It's a staple for a reason. But let's look at it again through the lens of an English learner like John. It is a powerful visual metaphor. You're in your yard, and you look over the fence in your neighbor's yard.
And their grass looks perfect. It's emerald green. It's lush. It looks like a golf course.
And then you look down at your own grass, and it's got brown patches and weeds. It's a mess.
The comparison is obvious. Theirs is better. It looks better. And Mary explains that this is a trick of perspective. It's an illusion.
She uses the word filter, which is so relevant for the Instagram age.
Exactly. She says it might be a filter. Just because something looks better from a distance over the fence doesn't mean it actually is better up close. Maybe that neighbor spends every weekend miserable pulling weeds because he's obsessed.
Or maybe that beautiful green grass is actually fake. It's AstroTurf.
Or maybe they're just really good at hiding the brown patches. The point the source material is making here is to help John realize that his envy, his success monster, is feeding on incomplete data.
Right.
He's comparing his internal reality, his feelings, his doubts, his struggles, his messy room with everyone else's external polished appearance.
It's a fundamentally unfair comparison. You can't win that game.
You can't.
So how do they resolve this in the first episode?
Yeah.
Because John is still feeling late. He's still got that I missed the boat feeling deep down.
The resolution in episode 1 is actually really beautiful and quite moving. Mary pivots the entire conversation to a new concept. She calls it your own clock.
Your own clock. Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, John has this moment of reflection in the script. He's prompted to look back at his 20s. He talks about sleeping on the floor of a tiny studio apartment.
We've all been there.
We have. He talks about eating instant noodles every single day because he literally couldn't afford anything else.
The instant noodle phase of life. It's a rite of passage.
It is. And as he's remembering this, he realizes something profound. He realizes that back then in his 20s, he wasn't ready for a big house. He wasn't emotionally or financially ready for a huge promotion. He was still just figuring out who he was.
So he wasn't late. He was just preparing. He was in a different season.
He was on his own timeline. He was running on his own clock. The source material spends about 8 minutes on this section, which is a really long time for a single concept. They really dig into the spelling of highlight, Highlight, and they connect it all back to this central idea that you cannot be late for your own life.
You're not late for your own life.
You are exactly where your own unique personal clock says you should be.
That is surprisingly comforting. It just takes all the pressure off. You don't have to chase the rockets. You just have to, I guess, walk at your own pace in your own flip-flops.
Or maybe eventually you upgrade to sneakers, but you do it at your own pace, on your own terms.
Right, at your own pace. Now, this brings us to a really crucial turning point in this series, because feeling better emotionally is great. Stopping the panic cycle is step 1, and it's a huge step.
It is.
But you can be calm and still be stuck. You can be at peace with your timeline and still be going absolutely nowhere.
And that is exactly what the second section of our outline and episode 2 of the Source series addresses. We are moving from the internal emotion of anxiety to the very practical problem of daily routines. The section is called From Stagnant to Flowing.
From stagnant to flowing. And the word of the day here is, without a doubt, stagnant.
Stagnant. Stagnant. It's such a wonderfully descriptive word.
That sounds kind of gross, doesn't it? Stagnant. It has a negative feel to it.
It does, and the source material leans right into that feeling. Mary asks John to visualize a pond, but not a nice, clear, flowing stream. A pond where the water has completely stopped moving.
So it's just sitting there, cut off from any source.
It's just sitting there. It's getting old and warm. It's growing algae on the surface. It smells bad.
It's lifeless. There's no oxygen in it.
That is the key word. Lifeless. Movement is life. Stagnation is decay. And Mary looks at John and says, John, that pond, that is your routine.
Ouch. That is a harsh but effective metaphor.
It's harsh, but it's true, according to his own description. John describes his daily life in this section of the script, and he says it in 3 parts. Same job, same desk, same sandwich.
The same sandwich detail really got to me. It's such a small, mundane thing.
It is.
But it implies that he isn't even making active choices anymore. He's just running a program. He's on autopilot.
He's in a loop.
Yeah.
He's waking up, doing the exact same sequence of things, and then going back to sleep. There is no new input. There is no fresh water entering his pond.
And when you live like that for a long time, when you're stuck in that loop, it creates this very specific feeling. The source material introduces a really high-level vocabulary word here to describe it. Misaligned.
Misaligned. This is a big one. M-I-S-A-L-I-G-N-E-D.
Let's break that down for everyone listening, just like Mary does for John.
Sure. So you have the root word, align. To align things means to put them in a straight line or to make them match up properly.
Like aligning the wheels on your car.
Exactly. And then you have the prefix mis, which means wrong or bad. So misaligned literally means badly matched, wrongly positioned.
The analogy they use in the script for this is, I think, perfect. Mary asks John, have you ever tried to wear your shoes on the wrong feet?
I love this analogy so much. It's so simple, but so profound. Think about it. You put your left shoe on your right foot and your right shoe on your left foot. Can you walk?
I mean, technically, yes, you could. You can shuffle around.
Exactly. You are not paralyzed. You can still move forward. But every single step is uncomfortable. It rubs in the wrong place. It pinches your toes. It feels awkward and wrong.
You're fighting yourself with every step.
Yes. And Mary explains that this is exactly what it feels like when your daily routine, your actions, don't match your internal goals or your values.
So if your heart wants to be creative and paint, but your job is entering numbers into a spreadsheet for 8 hours.
You are misaligned. If you want to be healthy and energetic, but you sit in a chair for 10 hours a day and eat the same processed sandwich.
You're misaligned. You're walking through your own life with your shoes on the wrong feet.
You are. And I notice in the source notes, especially in those AI brother tips we'll get to later, that this specific moment in the script is a place where they use a lot of learner interaction.
Right. The spelling.
Yes. They spell misaligned back and forth between the characters. Mary says M-I-S, and then John repeats M-I-S. Then she says A-L-I, and he repeats that.
Why did they break it up like that into these little pieces?
Because a long word like misaligned can be really intimidating for a learner. It looks like a giant, unclimbable wall. By breaking it down into smaller bricks, M-I-S, A-L-I, it becomes buildable, becomes manageable.
Okay, I see that.
And that linguistic strategy, that teaching method, perfectly mirrors the life advice that Mary gives him next.
Which is the solution to the stagnant pond problem. Because usually when we feel stuck like that, our instinct is to do something huge and dramatic. We want to blow up the dam.
We want the giant leap. That's the term for it. We think, I hate my job, I hate my apartment, my life is stagnant, that's it. I'm going to quit everything, move to a tropical island, and start a coconut farm.
I have definitely had that exact fantasy. I'm moving to Bali and becoming a yoga instructor.
We all have, but the source material warns against this. Mary tells John that the giant leap is actually a trap. It's too big, it's too overwhelming, you'll panic, you'll get scared, and you will give up.
And then you'll feel even more stagnant than when you started, because now you've also failed at your grand plan.
Exactly. You've just added failure to the stagnation.
So if we don't take a giant leap, what on earth do we do?
Mary introduces the concept of microactions.
Microactions.
Tiny actions. Small, manageable steps. The definition of a microaction, according to the script, is an action that is so small it is almost impossible to say no to it.
The example she gives is so specific, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. She's teaching John English, right? That's the premise. So she doesn't tell him, go home and study English for an hour.
No, that would be a mini leap. Instead, she tells him this. Learn one new English word while you are brushing your teeth.
While you're brushing your teeth.
Think about the genius of that instruction. You are already brushing your teeth every day. That habit is already established. It is a strong, existing neural pathway in your brain.
It's an anchor habit.
It's an anchor habit. By attaching a new, tiny habit-learning one word to that existing anchor, you completely bypass the need for willpower or motivation.
You don't have to find time in your busy schedule to study. The time is already there. You're just standing at the sink anyway.
Exactly. And the psychological effect of this is massive. It isn't actually about learning one word. The vocabulary is almost secondary.
What's it about then?
It is about shifting your identity.
Oh, that's interesting. How so?
Well, think about it. Yesterday, your identity was a person with a stagnant routine. You did nothing new. Today, you learned one new word while brushing your teeth. You let one tiny, fresh drop of water into the pond. You are now, by definition, a person who learns. You are a person who grows.
It shifts you from the identity of stagnant to the identity of flowing, even if the flow is just the tiniest trickle.
A trickle is infinitely better than a swamp. And that's how momentum builds. That one word becomes two words. Two words become a sentence. But it all starts with that impossibly small microaction.
And to really lock this concept in, the source script provides an affirmation for the listener. They're instructed to repeat the phrase, "Today is a fresh start."
And again, they use that signature 15-second pause right after it.
Today is a fresh start. It's so simple, but it's necessary, isn't it?
It's critical because stagnation feels heavy. It carries the weight of the past. We carry the guilt of yesterday's laziness or last week's or last year's into today.
That's so true.
This affirmation is about cutting that cord. It doesn't matter that you ate the same sandwich for the last 3 years. Today, you can put a different kind of pickle on it. Today is a fresh start.
That is such a liberating thought. You're not defined by your past. You're defined by your current micro-action.
Precisely. Your next tiny step.
Now, okay, we've covered the anxiety of comparison, and we've covered the boredom and frustration of stagnation. But life isn't always just boring or anxious. Sometimes it's genuinely hard.
Yes, and the source material doesn't shy away from this at all. This brings us to section 3 of our analysis, survival and resilience. And this corresponds to the final episode, episode 3 of the scripts.
The tone definitely shifts here. It gets a little more serious, a little more raw. John starts to open up about a specific story from his past.
He does.
He's not talking about his job or his Instagram feed anymore. He's talking about a really bad breakup.
A painful one. He describes a time years ago when he was completely and utterly heartbroken. He says he didn't want to leave his room. He didn't want to eat. He didn't want to see anyone. He felt like he was drowning.
This is a really vulnerable moment in the script. It moves the entire conversation away from the topic of self-improvement, which, let's be honest, is kind of a luxury, and into the realm of pure survival.
And the idiom that Mary introduces here is absolutely perfect for that state of being. She teaches him the phrase, keep your head above water.
Keep your head above water. It is such a powerful visual idiom.
It really is. Imagine you are in the middle of a rough, cold ocean. The waves are crashing over you. You're exhausted. What is your single most important goal?
Just to breathe.
Exactly. Your goal is not to swim the English Channel. Your goal is not to look graceful or impress anyone. Your goal is simply to keep your nose and mouth above the surface of the water so you do not drown.
And Mary's response to John's painful story is what makes this section so compassionate and powerful. She validates his experience. She says, John, when you are in that state, survival is a success.
Survival is a success, I think. I think we all need to hear that. Maybe we should tattoo that on our foreheads.
Seriously. Because we live in this culture of optimization and hustle, right? We are always supposed to be crushing it, thriving, growing, scaling.
Always moving up and to the right.
But Mary is saying, no, sometimes just staying alive, just getting through the day without going under, that is the victory.
It completely redefines success for anyone who is going through a genuine crisis, a breakup, a layoff, a loss. If you got out of bed today, you kept your head above water. If you ate a meal, you kept your head above water. You didn't drown. And for today, that is enough.
But of course, you can't just tread water forever. Eventually, your energy runs out. You have to start moving towards the shore.
And that leads to the next phase, the process of recovery. The source material introduces the phrasal verb for this, bounce back.
Bounce back. B-O-U-N-C-E. Like a rubber ball.
Yes. The imagery is kinetic. It's about physics. You hit the bottom. That's the hardship, the breakup. But you use the energy from that impact to propel yourself back up.
But, and this is a crucial distinction, Mary notes that for human beings, bouncing back is not instant.
No. A rubber ball bounces back in a fraction of a second. A human heart, a human spirit, that takes a little bit longer.
It's a process.
It's a process. And Mary uses another key phrase here. She says you have to work through the sadness. W-O-R-K-T-H-R-O-U-G-H.
Let's focus on that preposition for a second. Through.
Through is the key. Through implies you're moving inside of something, like a tunnel or a thick forest. It implies that you can't go around the grief. You can't jump over it.
You can't pretend it's not there.
You have to go through it, step by step. It is a process of navigation, not avoidance.
And in the script, John admits that it took him a very long time. He had to work through those dark days. But eventually, slowly, he did surface. He started to feel like himself again.
And this brings us to the final and most empowering idiom of the entire series. Once you have survived, once you have worked through the pain and gotten your head back above water, Mary tells John, the ball is in your court.
The ball is in your court. Okay, we're sticking with the sports metaphors. This is from tennis, right?
It's from tennis or a similar racket sport. Imagine the game. Your opponent has just hit the ball over the net. It lands on your side in your court. The entire game pauses for a moment. Everyone is watching you.
It's your turn to make a move.
It is your turn to act. It means you have agency again. It means the next move is yours.
That's a huge shift from just trying not to drown.
It's a massive shift. You are no longer a victim of the waves. You are an active player in the game again. But, and this is so important because it connects all the way back to microactions, Mary emphasizes that you don't have to hit a 100-mile-an-hour smash to win the point.
You just have to hit the ball back over the net.
You just have to return it. She asked John, what is your 1% step today? What is your return shot?
And John's answer is so grounded and realistic. He doesn't say, okay, I'm going to go out and find a new wife immediately.
No, nothing like that.
Yeah.
He says, maybe I'll send a text message to a friend I haven't spoken to in a while. Or maybe I will just write one complete sentence in English today.
That is the ball in your court. Writing one sentence, sending one text is a very small, gentle swing of the racket. But it keeps the game going.
It breaks the paralysis, and
Yeah.
it puts you back in control.
I love that. So we have this incredible emotional and psychological arc across the 3 episodes. We start with the anxiety of this success monster.
We move through the frustration of the stagnant pond.
We survive the rough waters of genuine hardship.
And finally, we get to a place where we can take the shot. We can make the next move.
It's a complete narrative of psychological growth, just hidden inside an English lesson.
He really is.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to geek out for just a minute on the how. Because Section 4 of our outline covers the methodology of the program. This isn't just a feel-good story. It is a very deliberately designed teaching tool.
Yes, and the source document includes this really cool appendix. It's called AI Brothers Recording Secrets, or AI Brothers Tips.
AI Brother. It sounds very sci-fi, but it is basically the director's commentary for the scripts. It explains the pedagogical science behind the structure.
Exactly. It's the why behind the what.
And we talked about the spelling earlier, the CATCH and the MIS back and forth. The AI Brother tips explain exactly why they do that.
It boils down to 2 main reasons, which they list as extending duration and building confidence.
Okay, let's talk about extending duration first. Why do we want to make learning a word take longer? Isn't speed better?
Not for retention. Speed is often the enemy of deep learning. When you are learning a new language, or really any new complex concept, if it just flies by you at normal speed, your brain might grasp the general meaning, but it drops all the details.
The specifics get lost.
They get lost. By spelling a word out letter by letter, you are effectively slowing down time for the learner's brain. You're forcing it to look at the individual atoms of the word, not just the whole object. It builds a stronger memory trace.
And that also lowers anxiety, which is the building confidence part.
Yes. Think about it from John's perspective. He's already feeling overwhelmed. If Mary asks him to define and use the word misaligned in a sentence, he might freeze up.
It's a lot of pressure.
But if she just asks him to repeat MIS, he can do that.
Yeah.
It's easy. He succeeds at that tiny task, and that small success releases a little bit of dopamine in his brain. It makes him feel capable. It builds his confidence brick by brick.
It's a micro-action within the lesson itself.
It is. The teaching method perfectly matches the life advice message.
That is so meta. I love it. And what about the pacing strategy? The tips mention this slow versus normal speed technique.
This is a classic and very effective listening comprehension technique. The AI Brother notes suggest that Mary should read a key sentence very, very slowly at first.
So the learner can hear every distinct sound.
Every syllable, every phonetic nuance. Then, immediately after, she reads the exact same sentence at a natural conversational speed.
So it bridges the gap between the textbook and the real world. It helps your ear calibrate.
Precisely. It's like learning a complex dance routine. The instructor shows you the steps in super slow motion first. If they just tried to show it to you at full speed right from the start, you would
trip over your own flip-flops.
Nice callback. Exactly. You'd be lost.
And finally, the entire 3-part series ends with what they call the Ultimate Word Tour.
The Ultimate Word Tour. This is the grand finale. It is a dedicated 10-minute summary where Mary and John literally review every single key word and phrase we've discussed today.
So they go through the whole list again. Catch up, highlight reel.
Stagnant, misaligned, keep your head above water, bounce back. The ball is in your court. All of them.
Why is that final repetition so important?
Well, on one level, repetition is the mother of all learning. It helps cement the knowledge. But I think it's also about closure and empowerment. They are proving to the listener and to John that he has learned something tangible. He has new tools in his toolbox now. He isn't leaving this difficult conversation empty-handed.
I think that is what makes this source material so special. It has deep respect for the learner. It doesn't just throw information at them and hope it sticks. It carefully packages it, supports it, and reinforces it so they can actually carry it with them and use it.
It's compassionate teaching through and through.
So let's do a little word tour of our own to wrap this deep dive up. We have journeyed through the Starting Over series. We faced the success monster in the morning and realized that comparing our personal flip-flops to everyone else's highlight reel rockets is a losing game.
We learned to spell out catch up, C-A-T-C-H, and we embraced the power of the 15-second pause. We came to understand that the highlight reel on social media is just a filter, and that the grass isn't always greener. Sometimes it's just painted.
Then we moved on to the stagnant pond of our own routines. We smelled the old water. We ate the same sandwich day after day. And we realized that being misaligned feels just like wearing our shoes on the wrong feet.
But we didn't stay there. We found the solution in microactions. We learned that we can change our entire trajectory by learning just one new word while brushing our teeth. We can shift from stagnant to flowing with tiny, consistent drops of fresh water.
And finally, we talked about the hard stuff. We learned that when the water gets rough, just keeping your head above water is a profound victory. We learned that you have to work through the pain in order to truly bounce back.
And ultimately, we learned that once you've survived, the ball is in your court. The next move, no matter how small or simple, is yours to make.
You know, we started this whole deep dive by saying this was for English learners, and it absolutely is. If you're learning English, these scripts are pure gold. But honestly, I think I needed this today. I think I needed the reminder about the highlight reel and the microactions.
I think we all do. We all have a success monster living in our pockets, on our phones. We all have days or weeks or even years where we feel stagnant. The language of the lesson might be English, but the lesson itself is universally human.
The lesson is human. I like that. So here is where we want to leave you, our listener. We have talked a lot about microactions today, this idea that you do not need to change everything all at once. You don't need the giant leap.
So here is our final provocative thought for you to take away.
If you could change just one tiny thing about your routine tomorrow morning, and I'm talking a 1% difference, something as small as learning one new word while you brush your teeth, or maybe drinking a glass of water before you even look at your phone, how might that single tiny action change your trajectory?
How might that one drop of fresh water, repeated day after day, begin to turn a stagnant pond into a flowing river over the next year?
It's a very small question with a potentially huge, life-changing answer.
Something to think about.
Thank you so much for diving deep with us today. Whether you are walking, driving, or just trying to keep your head above water, we are really glad you're here with us.
Goodbye, everyone. Keep moving.
We'll catch you in the next one.